Vladimir Putin is one of the world's most influential leaders, but how did this former KGB officer rise to power? Putin was born in 1952 in the city of Leningrad, now known as St. Petersburg. He grew up in a communal apartment and his father was a factory foreman. Putin's parents died when he was a teenager, and he was raised by his maternal grandparents. Despite facing adversity in his youth, Putin excelled academically and was a talented athlete, particularly in judo and sambo, a Russian martial art. In fact, Putin holds a black belt in judo and has even written a book on the subject. After completing his studies at Leningrad State University, where he received a law degree, Putin joined the KGB, the Soviet Union's security and intelligence agency. He was stationed in East Germany, where he worked undercover as a translator, and later returned to Leningrad to take on a variety of roles within the KGB, including work in counterintelligence. In 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed and Putin's career in the KGB came to an end. He returned to St. Petersburg and entered politics, rising through the ranks to become the city's deputy mayor. In 1999, Russian President Boris Yeltsin handpicked Putin to be his successor. At the time, Putin was relatively unknown, but Yeltsin saw him as a loyal ally who could help him maintain control over the country. When Yeltsin resigned on New Year's Eve in 1999, Putin became acting president. He quickly set about consolidating power and cracking down on corruption. During his early presidency, Putin implemented a series of economic and social reforms that helped stabilize the Russian economy and improve the lives of many Russians. One of the lesser-known facts about Putin is that he is a published author and poet. He has written several books on topics such as judo, Russian history, and politics, and has even published a collection of poems under a pseudonym. In addition to his domestic and international policies, Putin has also worked to strengthen Russia's military and improve its economic standing. He has invested in infrastructure and natural resources, and has worked to improve relations with other countries, particularly those in the Middle East and Asia. Over the next 2 decades, Putin solidified his control over Russia and became one of the most influential leaders in the world. He faced criticism from the international community for his actions in Crimea and Ukraine, as well as for alleged interference in foreign elections. Despite this criticism, Putin has remained a formidable figure on the global stage. His rise to power is a story of ambition, strategy, and sheer force of will. Today, Putin remains a controversial figure, but his influence and power are undeniable. He has shaped the course of Russian politics and international relations for over 2 decades, and his legacy will continue to be felt for years to come. One of the more surprising facts about Putin is that he is an avid outdoorsman and enjoys activities such as hunting, fishing, and diving. He has even been spotted catching giant pike and exploring the depths of the Black Sea. In addition to his love of the outdoors, Putin is also an accomplished pianist and enjoys classical music. He has even played the piano in public on a few occasions. Despite his tough exterior and reputation as a strongman leader, Putin has also shown a softer side and has a close relationship with his family, particularly his daughter. He has been known to speak fondly of his mother and has even published a book of photos and stories about her. It is generally accepted that Russia's annexation of Crimea and involvement in the conflict in eastern Ukraine were driven by a mix of political, economic, and strategic considerations. One of the main motivations for Russia's actions in Ukraine was the desire to maintain influence in the region. Ukraine has a long history with Russia and has traditionally been seen as within Russia's sphere of influence. The 2014 Maidan Revolution, which toppled Ukraine's pro-Russian president, and the subsequent move towards closer ties with the West, threatened Russia's influence in the region. The annexation of Crimea and involvement in the conflict in eastern Ukraine was seen as a way for Russia to reassert its influence in the region and prevent Ukraine from drifting further towards the West. In addition to political considerations, there may also have been economic factors at play. Crimea is home to Russia's Black Sea Fleet and has significant oil and gas reserves, which could have been a factor in Russia's decision to annex the region. Finally, there may have been strategic considerations at play. The conflict in Ukraine has allowed Russia to project power and assert itself on the global stage, and it has also served as a distraction from domestic issues and allowed the Russian government to rally support at home. It is important to note that the motivations behind Russia's actions in Ukraine are complex and multifaceted, and it is likely that a combination of political, economic, and strategic considerations played a role in the decision to annex Crimea and become involved in the conflict in eastern Ukraine.